Hi, this is Jeremy Dunham, Editor-in-Chief of IGN PS2 and the resident Fight Night fan, and today I'll be looking at EA Sports Fight Night Round 2, which is, in my estimation, the best boxing game I've ever played, seen, or touched. I know that's kind of a big thing to say about any game, really, but after seeing the amount of improvements that this game has made compared to last year, it's totally accurate. This year they take all the ideas that last year's game did and they improve upon them really exponentially. One of the biggest improvements that they've made this year is the fact that you can now move and punch at the same time, as well as move and block. Remember last year you had to plant your feet whenever you wanted to do either one, and it meant that you could definitely be offensive, but only in spurts, and you couldn't charge forward like you wanted to, or like they do in real boxing. This time around, however, you can go ahead and you can move forward, throw jabs, throw hooks, do whatever you want, and it allows you to be a lot more proactive when it comes to your offense and defense, because now you can actually fight backing up, which is something a lot of more astute boxers do in real life in the boxing ring. Of course, the biggest and most profound difference this year, if you ask anyone, is the addition of the Haymaker Punch. And the Haymaker Punch is actually a really cool new feature that allows you to load up on your attack so that you can put more weight behind an uppercut or a hook when you land it. Let's say you're going to do an uppercut, you press down, charge it back, and then finish up with the motion. And now you can pack a whole lot more power behind that shot, which then can either result in flash knockdowns or things of that nature that can really cut open your opponent. They're a lot more important than they were before. One of the problems that I do have with the Haymaker control, though, as cool a feature as it is, it makes you a little bit invincible when you're trying to throw it. If you notice, when guys are kind of loading up on their shot, getting ready to punch, you can jab them a couple of times, or even land a couple of crosses, but unless you land a haymaker of your own, they're pretty much locked in that position no matter how many times you hit them, and that's kind of a bit of an unfair advantage, kind of giving you a temporary invincibility in a way. It doesn't make you completely invincible, but you can, no matter how many times you get hit, you can nail that haymaker, so that's something you might want to look at for next year. One of the coolest new improvements, of course, is the new Cornerman Cut game. It's a little mini game that you can have between rounds. You basically have 30 seconds to either heal your swelling or your cuts. And you can basically do this just by keeping this little meter within this little ticker, and it adds a lot more realism to the fights, and it's something that last year's games didn't have. Of course, one of my big complaints about last year's games is the fact that referees didn't stop the fight no matter how much punishment you took. It was always either a 10 count or a 3 knockdown rule. This year, however, referees will step in. They'll stop the fight if you've taken too many shots to the face, if you're cut open too much, if you've been defensive and haven't returned enough shots after a certain amount of time. It's a lot more like real boxing, and because of that, the strategy and the abilities of your fighters are so much better than before. It's really worth mentioning. One of the most noticeable things you're going to see as soon as you pop it in your system is the fact that the graphics are so much better. Compared to last year, there were twice as many polygons and twice as many textures, and the lighting effects are also improved, and the facial animations are much better too. And the same can be said with the ragdoll physics. Last year, if you remember, they kind of bounced around a little bit, even though it definitely looked much better than Knockout Kings in last year's game. This year's game kind of gets rid of that jittery look that last year's game had. On top of that, it also seems to have a much more weighty feeling when you fall, so it doesn't feel like your guy's kind of floating around. And that's kind of the theme that goes for the game overall. You know, I mean, everything's more realistic. Even the arenas around you, with the fact that it's blurry the farther out you look, just like Real Vision. It's a really nice little touch. Last year, I was kind of all over the career mode because I just thought it was a little bit limited. It was kind of too much like Knockout Kings, didn't offer a whole lot. This year, however, you can actually go up and down in weight classes, meaning that if you want to, let's say, start off as a light heavyweight and move up to heavyweight, you can do that. Or if you want to go down to middleweight, you can do that too. You can also compete for pound titles, and you can compete for other specialty matches as well. Overall, though, I'm highly impressed with Fight Night Round 2. It's become a very addictive game here in the office, and just about everyone in here is constantly playing it. It's getting to the point now to where sometimes we're not getting enough work done because we spend so much time playing this game. But bottom line, sports fans, boxing fans, fighting fans, and people that just like a great game design should definitely turn their attention to EA Sports Fight Night Round 2. It's great. It's going to be a classic in my opinion, and I can't wait till next year to see what they do next.
Boom! Adding insult to injury. He's hit on the way down.